Yuri Bezmenov, a former KGB agent who defected to Canada in 1970, unveiled a chilling truth in a 1984 interview. He exposed a silent war that was being waged by the Soviet Union against the United States. However, this was not a conventional war with tanks and missiles. It was a war of the mind, a psychological and ideological subversion aimed at undermining the very essence of American society.
When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
At the core of this strategy was ideological subversion, a sinister long-term plan to alter the perception of reality for every American. The aim is to create a state of confusion and doubt, rendering the public unable to use logic or reason, having been brainwashed with Marxist ideologies to the point that they honestly believe absurdities that have absolutely no basis in truth.
Do you guys think men can get pregnant?
Yes.
It's yes.
Yeah, it's yes.
Once demoralized to this level, they have no ability to defend themselves, their families, their communities, or their country from the obvious destruction these ideologies lead to. Yuri Bezmenov's revelations take a more sinister turn as we delve into how these agents of chaos exploit the entertainment industry and popular figures to manipulate public opinion in America. Their methods extend beyond traditional means, with a focus on psychological manipulation, using catchphrases and emotional tactics rather than rational discourse. Yuri described the 4 stages of ideological subversion: demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and normalization.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages.
Each stage constituted a meticulously orchestrated process, meticulously planned and executed over time, culminating in the ultimate goal, a transformed America, far from its founding principles.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
The first stage, demoralization, requires 2 decades to achieve. This is how long it takes to indoctrinate a full generation of students.
The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom.
Agents of subversion, both from the Soviet Union and sympathizers within the United States, infiltrate crucial institutions. They target the educational system, media, the entertainment industry, religious institutions, and political parties, all with a single purpose: to corrupt them with the poisonous ideology of Marxist-Leninism. They infiltrate the entertainment industry, using movies, television shows, and music to spread their ideologies as mainstream thought.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. First there was rice, tobacco, sugar cane. Then Whitney did his thing and cotton became king. And we were its soldiers, 4 million strong. Fighting for America's freedoms even though we remained America's slaves. Built this country.
Popular celebrities are enlisted as unwitting pawns in this psychological warfare, disseminating the subversive message to millions of followers. Through catchy slogans and emotionally charged narratives, they push Marxist ideas and fuel the erosion of traditional American values. These agents propagate values that attack the very fabric of traditional American culture, including moral relativism, multiculturalism, identity politics, and political correctness. They aim to erode the foundations of patriotism, faith, and family that have long held our nation together. The American public finds itself submerged in a constant barrage of propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, leaving them questioning their own reality. To further sow discord, they exploit and create social problems such as racial tensions, economic inequalities, environmental issues, and foreign conflicts. These divisions fragment society, leaving it vulnerable and demoralized. The 2020 riots provide a stark example of how they employ these tactics. What began as peaceful protests for social justice quickly devolved into chaos, with Marxist groups busing in rioters to many states, leaving violence and destruction spreading across the nation. The entertainment industry and popular figures amplified the unrest, using catchphrases and an emotionally charged rhetoric to stoke anger and division among the American people. And as we watch the rise of the woke culture destroying our society and witness the growing influence of critical race theory and social justice activism portraying America as systemically racist, increasing polarization along various lines, and declining trust in American institutions. The connection between demoralization and Marxism becomes evident as Marx specifically said to utilize the educational system and media to propagate his ideas, challenge traditional values, and foment division among social groups. Their ideology promotes moral relativism, emphasizes class struggle, and seeks to control language through political correctness. Moving on to the second stage, destabilization, this phase is aimed at targeting the essential pillars of the American system, economy, foreign relations, and defense. Agents of subversion seek to create economic instability through inflation, unemployment, debt, poverty, and social unrest.
On whether or not debt limit gets extended.
There's no deal to be had on the debt ceiling.
That's not negotiable.
We will not negotiate. There's no negotiation to be had on the debt ceiling.
Next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
Shocking scenes of desperation and chaos in Afghanistan are being seen around the world. Can't believe my eyes, says the man who shot this video of people clinging to an American cargo jet as it takes off. Machine gun fire could be heard as thousands of panic-stricken Afghans stormed the airport. They battled their way onto civilian planes which took off with hundreds of passengers jammed inside. One air traffic controller marveled as a pilot ferried 800 people to Dubai in a plane designed for 150.
800 people on your jet?
going down.
There were more scenes of panic as night fell, and thousands more fought to get on any plane going anywhere. Caught in the maelstrom are reporters for American TV networks, including courageous women like CBS News correspondent Roxana Saberi.
For security reasons, our hotel is under lockdown at the moment. That's why I'm speaking to you from my room. The situation outside is very volatile.
They undermine American foreign relations by supporting hostile regimes, terrorist groups, and radical movements worldwide. The military defense is weakened through reductions in spending, compromised intelligence and security, and the spread of the anti-American sentiment.
From the ongoing push for equality in schools, in government, and in our communities, to the targeting of communities of color by white supremacists, and the killing of unarmed black men and women by police. America's historic division over race remains at the heart of so many conflicts we see today.
As destabilization unfolds, they intensify their efforts to disrupt society. Climate activists, claiming to fight for a noble cause, resort to extreme measures like destroying artworks or blocking streets to gain attention. They employ emotionally charged slogans to rally support without engaging in rational debate.
Did he grab my camera? He.
Oh, assault! Hey, police, I just got spit on. Listen, he actually believes that if someone disagrees with something, you can stand up and spit on them. That's how miseducated you are. You are so miseducated.
You have to leave your face to their face in front of me. You will pay for this.
All right, guys. I want to thank you.
This tactic aims to create chaos and undermine public trust in existing systems. Current events reflecting this stage include the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, trade disputes with China, troop withdrawal from Afghanistan, cyber attacks from foreign adversaries, and social unrest fueled by various internal factors. The connection between destabilization and Marxism becomes evident in the Marxist-Leninist agents' efforts to undermine capitalist economies, challenge Western powers, and promote alternatives to the existing economic and political systems. In the midst of this, ideological activists attack opposing views with name-calling and derogatory language rather than defending their positions with intellectual discourse. This further exacerbates divisions and weakens the ability for constructive dialogue, pushing society further towards destabilization. The third stage, crisis, is achieved swiftly. This stage involves creating chaos, panic, and disorder through the fabrication or exploitation of national or international emergencies such as wars, coups, pandemics, or natural disasters. Mass protests, riots, and civil wars are incited or supported, and legitimate government leaders or institutions are overthrown or assassinated. The vital infrastructure and resources of the nation are seized or destroyed. The crisis stage arrives, and they seize the moment to create a sense of panic and urgency. They exploit national or international emergencies, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, to push their agendas. Fear and uncertainty are amplified, providing fertile ground for radical ideologies to take hold. They exploit socio-economic crises to foster discontent and revolutionary sentiment. Class struggle is amplified, and political instability is created, with the goal of challenging existing structures and promoting radical changes. In this stage, these agents of chaos, including media pundits and politicians, use emotionally charged phrases to manipulate public sentiment and provoke mass protest.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
In high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
They stoke the flames of discontent, using slogans like defund the police and systemic racism, without providing any specific manifestations of their claims or engaging in meaningful dialogue.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD to youth initiatives and social services.
Yes, I support the defund movement.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going to the police department.
We propose to redirect over $7 million from the Police Bureau.
Rashida Tlaib tweeting, no more policing, incarceration, and militarization. It can't be reformed.
The police department here in Minneapolis needs to be dismantled, and we need to start anew.
In some necessary cases, completely dismantling those police forces.
And so when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer.
When we said defund the police, the world woke up.
Defunding police means defunding police. If these reports are accurate, then these proposed cuts to the NYPD budget are a disingenuous illusion. This is not a victory. The freshman Democrat adding, the fight to defund policing will continue.
We talk about defunding the police, defunding the Pentagon.
My push is that we defund our police department.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not.
The final stage of this psychological warfare is normalization, when the people accept radical ideas as the new normal. What used to be fringe ideologies become mainstream, influencing public debate and policy making. The entertainment industry reinforces this shift, presenting these extreme views as morally superior, while suppressing any opposition and attacking the values we have all held for hundreds of years as racist or oppressive. The people no longer resist the revolutionary changes, but embrace them, unaware of the psychological manipulation they have undergone. And as the smoke clears, the destabilizing agents, who were once used to create chaos, are now no longer needed.
Your leftists in the United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere.
As the new regime consolidates power, dissent becomes intolerable, and those who once fueled the revolution are left to face a perilous fate. They become targets of purges, imprisonment, or forced exile. The catchphrases and emotional appeals they once championed offer no protection against the wrath of the established order. The very tools once used to dismantle the old order are now turned against those who wielded them. The authorities silence any dissenting voices to ensure their grip on power remains unchallenged. Some meet their end at the hands of secret police or through dubious legal proceedings, while others are sentenced to languish in remote labor camps, subject to physical and psychological torment. For the surviving agents who manage to evade capture or imprisonment, a life in exile becomes their only refuge, living in constant fear of retribution should they dare to speak out again. The once celebrated champions of the revolution now stand as reminders of a bygone era. Their knowledge and experiences pose a potential threat to the carefully crafted narrative of the new regime who will by no means be questioned. As the years pass, the once fervent agents of destabilization find themselves lost in the shadows of history. Their revolutionary dreams have crumbled, and the society they helped create becomes unrecognizable. The price of their misguided ideology and actions has been immeasurable, leaving a legacy of suffering and pain. The realization that they were used and manipulated hits like a truck when the first military boot crushes their chest before their words of dissent make a sound. The chilling tale of ideological subversion told by Yuri Bezmenov serves as a stark reminder of the dangers posed by those who seek to manipulate and control societies through psychological warfare and brainwashing. It underscores the importance of vigilance, critical thinking, and safeguarding democratic principles to prevent the rise of ideologies that can lead to such tragic outcomes. So where do we as a nation fall in the procession of these stages? As we confront the multifaceted challenges facing America today, it becomes evident that the agents of chaos are actively rewriting history, destroying the persona of our founding fathers, tearing down statues, and teaching our children to hate America. Critical race theory is being used to divide our children based on race.
When you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other.
And the family unit is under attack through the promotion of promiscuity, unbounded sexual activity, abortion, and LGBTQ ideology. Christianity is facing hostility, and the very concept of God and morality is being attacked on all levels. All the while, there's a push to promote complete dependence upon the government. The consequences of this silent war are grave, and we must be vigilant to safeguard our democratic principles. We cannot be swayed by catchy slogans and emotional appeals. Instead, we must stand firm in defense of rational discourse and genuine dialogue. As we witness the border crises, child trafficking, drug epidemics, and the sexualization of our children in schools, we must rise to the occasion. Our society must be guided by reason and compassion, learning from history to ensure a shared future of unity, strength, and resilience. Only by breaking free from the grip of ideological subversion can we safeguard our nation and preserve the values that have defined us for generations. The path forward requires unwavering determination and a commitment to the principles that have made America great. Let us come together to protect our nation's future and secure a brighter tomorrow for all. In the depths of this ideological war, we must resist the temptation to see the agents of chaos as enemies, but rather as captives. Lost in the echo chamber of lies, slogans, and psychological manipulation, they unwittingly find themselves on the side of evil, blinded to the true meaning of facts.
Timeless American values are under assault every day.
Mike Pence, I don't disagree with you that timeless American values are under assault in our country. White supremacy, patriarchy, and capitalism definitely are timeless American values. But I think that their time has passed. And it's a good thing that we're dismantling these American systems that weren't designed with all Americans in mind anyway.
Colossians chapter 2 implores us not to succumb to the captivity of vain philosophies, driven by the traditions of men and not of Christ. Our duty, indeed our profound responsibility, lies in approaching these souls with love and empathy, using the power of logic to guide them towards the path of truth. With gentleness and compassion, We must strive to help them break free from the chains that bind them to their misguided beliefs, revealing the light of reason and understanding. In a world engulfed in discord and division, it is through genuine connection and empathetic persuasion that we may bridge the gaps between us. Let us endeavor to see past the barriers of ideology and forge a collective understanding that transcends differences. Only by extending a hand of compassion can we hope to lead others towards the clarity of truth and the unity of shared purpose. Please share this documentary and help me get the word out, and by all means please subscribe to the channel and let's have discussions in the comments. The only way to change the direction our country is headed is to break the spell they are under with the truth, so please let's get the truth out.
The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. Unlike myself, you will have nowhere to defect to.